So Theovon was interviewing Tony Robbins, and they got into it. And I think it's great for us to see the interaction, so we can all learn how to overcome the low self-worth that sometimes creeps up to every single one of us. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care what you've done in your life. We all deal with this, and sometimes on a daily basis. So let's break this down.
Sometimes I have a tough time feeling proud of myself. Do you know what that? And I think I've had other people call in our show that have talked about that. You know.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I feel like I almost feel like there's a disconnect, like it doesn't even land on me. Or I feel like maybe if I feel like I'm proud of myself, like if I actually feel proud of myself, it'll go against some script that I've always had written. Or
so the first thing is the mastery of Tony digging into what do you think it is? Because sometimes we think that the solution to our problem is out there. Within that man, tell me the shortcut. Give me the pill, give me the magic pill. But no, Tony goes and asks him, what do you think it is? Because at the end of the day, the answer is always within us, right? So he goes back and says, I have a hard time feeling proud of myself. I have a hard time thinking that the things I've done made me feel proud.
Some thing that was always written inside of me, it's like it's almost like it wouldn't, if I wrote on the wall of myself, I'm proud of you, it wouldn't even fucking show up on the wall.
What emotion would you feel if you saw that?
Like what emotion would I feel if I saw what?
I'm proud of myself. Would you go bullshit? Would you be pissed off by it? Would you be annoyed? Would you just
No, I think I'd feel ashamed of myself for even thinking it.
That's interesting.
In the book Power versus Force, the doctor that wrote this book talks about how every single one of us, when we feel and we think of an emotion, we vibrate on a certain level of energy. And guilt and shame is one of the lowest levels of energy. And the moment that Theo said, I feel guilty of being proud. There's something like written in my wall saying that I shouldn't be in this position. I shouldn't be that. So a lot of entrepreneurs have that sabotage mentality that, man, why me? Why me? Why do I have this? Why am I blessed? And that's the bottom line is self-worth. Do you feel worthy of the things that you have?
And it produced an emotion in you just now, even when you just thought about it. I saw that flash in your eyes. It's just a little bit of water, a little bit of fluid.
Oh yeah, dude. Fuck, we cry on here every week. Sorry, dude.
That's beautiful.
Sorry. No, it's okay. But yeah, we don't have any shame about that.
No, you shouldn't. But I'm saying liquid leaving your body in a public place, as long as it's through your eyes, is not a problem.
That's what I'm talking about, huh?
So this is a great way to see how Tony deflects the situation when, as he's getting deeper into his feelings, Tony makes him feel good. Because as a coach, as somebody who does breakthrough, the number one job is to gain the trust. So if you want to help somebody else, you have to let them know that they could trust you. You have to let them understand that it's okay, that you could be vulnerable. You could be vulnerable. You have these feelings, and you could see his physiology change. He's getting hot. He's kind of like moving his body a little bit. The body language says that he's uncomfortable, but then he starts laughing and he starts like connecting, because that's where Tony now is probably going to go deeper into it to really see how he could help him overcome the self-worth. So the first step is getting vulnerable, or getting somebody to hold a space for you to share what you're going through. And the second is continue to ask questions. Why do you think that is? What's the feeling? What would it look like?
But my point is, there's a real anchor for you there. So let me explain it to you. Everybody has what I call an emotional home.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch like a place here, and let's say, where the cyclone happens every 2 or 3 years and it wipes out everything, or a tornado comes through?
Oh, yeah.
And you see these poor people, all their stuff's all over the ground and they're picking it up, and you could have a heart of stone not to feel. They rebuild. 2 years again, it happens again. 2 years later, it happens again. Some part of you eventually goes, why don't you move? It's like, why don't you move?
A lot of Vietnam's like that, it floods. New Orleans is like that, it floods.
New Orleans like that. So here's, why don't they move? Because it's home. It's what they know. You have an emotional home. You have certain emotions that got built up in your youth. And I had 4 fathers. I had a mother that was pretty intense. And I had a lot of emotions that came out of that experience. If I didn't reprogram myself, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today, because my emotional home was not good feelings. It's what I was used to. So even though it didn't.
So that's a great point. We all of us have a certain thermostat that we regulate, right? And we are just so accustomed to just being comfortable to what you know. So if you're in a bad relationship, and sometimes the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't know. If you're in a bad business, sometimes the grass is not green on the other side. So emotionally, we make that our home. Emotionally, this is where we live. This is what we believe we are worth. I call this the peasant mentality. The peasant mentality, the peasant version of us, all of us, we have a certain version that is a peasant, that thinks that it's just as good as it's going to get. That is all that I'm worth. So if you continue to feed that version of yourself, that peasant mentality, of course you're going to continue to attract that of what you don't want most. So if you continue to feed that peasant mentality, of course you're going to attract just not being enough. So if you make that your emotional home, the peasant mentality, the victim mentality, then everything around you is going to just continue to validate that that's what you're worth.
Feel good, you go there because it's what you know.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. So
Yeah, it almost felt like I was deserting myself if I felt good about myself,
That's
which
right.
is crazy. I'd almost feel like I was leaving. I don't know. Yeah, it's almost like I know those feelings.
No, finish that thought. I'm believing what?
Well, it's almost like I feel like I know those feelings of not feeling good about myself so well that I don't want to leave them alone because we always had each other. And it was like, if I leave them, you know.
Have you ever had a friend?
Man, that right there, he feels the energy. You could see the tension and feels it. You could feel the emotion that he's going through because that's real. Like that's his identity. His identity is, man, I am not good enough. His identity is, even though I have all this success, I'm always gonna have that peasant next to me that I feel like he's a friend of mine. That peasant becomes your identity and that version of you is holding you down. Because every single one of us, we have the mentality that, man, we're not good enough. That's constantly telling us that we should be ahead of the game. And if we don't catch a little voice in our heads, that voice could sabotage our success, could sabotage our relationships, could sabotage the things that we're working so hard to overcome.
I won't, I don't know. Does that make sense though?
Yeah, it does. You won't what?
If I leave them, I'll just be letting them down. And they're not even real, but they're, to part of me, some part of me inside of me, I can't even access. They're like his brothers.
That's right. They're your home, brother.
Yeah.
And by the way, I really appreciate you being so vulnerable because the people watching there, seeing that, allow them to be vulnerable because you're a role model of that. It's because you're funny as shit, but to be able to be that vulnerable is beautiful. But let me just tell you something. Those are not your friends.
Yeah.
You know, and
that to me is the mastery of Tony. Getting him to be vulnerable, acknowledging his feelings, acknowledging his emotions, and helping him understand that through you being vulnerable, you could actually help somebody else. And that's what we do at the boot camps that we have. You know, I sit down with men, and within the first 10, 15 minutes, as men realize that, man, I have a lot of baggage, have a lot of shit that I've been going through. I'm just waiting for somebody to hold the space so I could unload. Because as you could see his physiology, man, he's been holding on to this for a long time. And the more you hold on to those things, if you don't talk about it, if you don't find somebody that could hold the space for you, if you don't have a therapist, a coach, a mentor, that you could actually have a sounding board to share what you're going through, that energy and those thoughts and those feelings are going to continue to get stuck in your brain and your subconscious mind and create the world that we live in.
you're not going to abandon those parts of yourself. You're going to find these other parts of yourself that need to be in charge. It's not to say that you can't have negative emotions or fears or feelings, but the ones that don't support you, you got to break that pattern. And the way you break the pattern first is you start to see, you get a new experience. If I get you an experience where you feel like you actually felt proud of yourself without those feelings, and there was no sense of loss, and I did that with you for days and days, you'll never go back.
Wow.
Because your brain will go, what the F? I'm not going back to that bullshit. Those weren't my friends. It'd be like, it's like having a friend that beats the shit out of you every single day. And it's like, I'm letting him down if I don't want to beat the shit out of me, right? It's like, oh no, I got to be there for him because I got to be there so he can beat the shit out of me all the place, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I call emotional fitness. Emotional intelligence is being aware that you have a problem. You could see Theo is aware that he has a problem. He's aware that, man, he continues to beat himself down. He's aware that he has a hard time feeling proud of himself. He's aware that this doesn't serve him, but that's his home. That's his identity. That's what he feels the most comfortable at, right? Emotional fitness is not just having the emotional intelligence or having the awareness, is now, what can I do to stop this pattern? This doesn't serve me. So now I have to feel those emotions. I have to feel that feeling of not being enough, that depression, that anxiety, that fear, whatever it is that you're feeling now, you make the choice. You choose to do something about it. You have to break through that fear and compound it with something that is actually better than fear, which is the sense of being proud. That's why whenever you want to work on your emotional fitness, you have to find somehow, some way to stretch those emotions to the point of no return. And that's what Tony's talking about here is, what if I could get you to stretch those feelings, to feel so proud and do it every single day for a couple of days? Would you go back to those old feelings that don't serve you? And the answer is no. Most of us won't go back to that friend that beats us down. Most of us won't go back to that toxic relationship if we have something better. The reason that we continue to go back to those old patterns because we don't know better. We don't have an experience that is better. So therefore, it's better to have this shitty experience than experience that's going to help us grow and expand.
That's pretty much what
That is
happens.
crazy to hear, dude. You're like, damn, here we go again.
And so then
You
what
know?
happens though is the reason you went for the antidepressants is it's so overwhelming that numbing at least feels a little less. I'd rather see you cry and feel the pain even though I want you to feel pain as a brother.
Yeah, no, I'm grateful to feel it. I want it out of my system.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the next step for you is drawing a line in the sand of how you really want to feel. So I'll have people in the event write down, I give them like a minute. I go, draw a line down the middle, write down on the left side all the positive emotions you feel in an average week, not once a year, not once a month, the ones you regularly feel, whatever good feelings.
The average emotions in a positive week.
Positive. So what are some ones you feel in a week?
In a week, I feel
At least once a week.
okay. Any emotion?
Positive. Start with the positive.
Positive.
Empowering emotions.
Hopeful.
Okay.
Thankful.
Yeah.
Loving.
Yeah.
And maybe some pride.
Good. And so the pride is sneaking in. Now that's not ego pride. That's pride of like you're growing.
So that's a big difference to understand that there is being proud of the things that you do and having pride as from an ego perspective. So what he's talking about is he's feeling proud. He's feeling some kind of accomplishment of the things that he's doing. So that's the battle that he has. It's the battle between the ego, I shouldn't feel this way, or I think I'm better than anybody else, versus, man, I'm doing a good job. I'm growing, I'm expanding, I'm finding some success. But this is a great exercise to do, and I've done similar exercises, and the guys that I work with, I coach them through an exercise that goes deep into the emotion. Like we go deep into the pain. Like what is it that you don't want in life? So let's write down all the things that you don't want in your life, and let's see what will happen if you continue to live in the same situation right now. If you have the hell, because that's my job, to take you through hell. Like I know personal development, there's different strategies. My strategy is doesn't work for everyone because I help men go through hell so they'll come back and create their heaven. But again, they have to go through pain. Pain is what's gonna catapult change.
About pride, I mean, it's like I said, it's really hard for me to feel proud of myself.
Yes.
You know?
So stop saying that.
Okay.
Because every time you say that, you're rewiring it back into your body over and over. It's a story. Yeah. It's like there's an old phrase that says, tell a lie big enough, loud enough and long enough, sooner or later people believe it. You know who said that? Hitler.
Oh, I think you were gonna say Fauci.
Well, same difference.
It's programming. So whatever people say, whatever you say is constantly programming your subconscious mind. That's why they made the reference of Hitler and Fauci, because it's been programmed. If you think about what happened the last 4 years, we've been programmed. I mean, we're wearing masks every single day, programming ourselves that we don't want to catch a virus. We were doing certain things, staying at home because we were being programmed out of fear. So the same thing with you. You are the programmer in your computer in your head. You are the one who's dictating your life. So if you continue to say certain things that you know they don't serve you, well, it's up to you to stop it. It's up to you to break that pattern. If you keep saying I'm fat or I'm always broke or nobody likes me, well, that story is gonna become your reality. So if you want to change your life, you have to change the way that you talk to yourself. You have to stop the pattern of self-sabotage, and stop the pattern of talking in a negative way, because you're gonna create that world in your life.
We're aligned on that one, brother.
You're a quicker thinker than I am. But we hear what we're saying.
But the conversation you've said with yourself, you've done. How many times do you think you've said that?
Said what?
That it's hard for me. I
say it a lot. Yeah, it's because I think it's like having a new story for myself. Part of me is still, there's a heavy bit even to my whole new story, having a new story.
Yeah.
Even having some success in my life. It's almost like some of it feels embarrassing,
Yeah. And some people feel like, the word people use is imposter syndrome. It's all bullshit. It's just fear that you're not enough. We all have that fear, brother.
Yeah.
I feel that at times. I don't feel it much now. But I'm 63 years old and I've done a shitload of things for 40 years,
You built enough pattern.
Yeah, I built up new patterns. Yeah. It's like a muscle.
So the imposter syndrome is that feeling of not being enough. The fear of not being enough, the fear of not being liked, the fear of not living to your full potential. So we all have that. I work with successful businessmen, men who make millions of dollars, men who build empires, and their old pattern is, that all of us are trying to fill that void. Because if you look for validation from the outside, it's never going to be enough. You're never going to be rich enough. You're never ever going to be young enough. You're never going to be good looking enough. It's when you start doing the inner work, realizing that everything that you have is within you. You start realizing that, man, I am enough. And because I am enough, I could create the things that I want. Now, you have to back it up with action. You have to back it up with execution. You know, you can't just say, I'm enough, I'm rich, I'm healthy, I'm lovable, and not act those ways. So first you have to believe that you are, then you have to act based on what you want to attract. But everything is based on your belief system. And we all have that feeling of not being good enough. If you let that feeling of not being good enough consume you, you're gonna end up depressed, you're gonna end up alone, you're gonna end up broke. But if you use that feeling of not being good enough as fuel to make you succeed, you're gonna work harder than anybody else. You're gonna prepare better than anybody else. And most important, you're gonna withstand the punches that life throws at you, because you realize that every single day you're just getting better and better.
You know, everybody's got the muscle. If you use it, it grows. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? Yeah. It doesn't ever disappear though. It just looks like it's not there. But if you demand it, you push it beyond what it's comfortable with. And that's what you're doing right now. You're pushing beyond your comfort. You were settling for comfort to try to survive. Now you're like, F that. I want more out of this life. You know, I'm not gonna settle for that shit. But then you keep telling yourself the old story. So change your story, change your life. It sounds overly simplistic, but it is true.
No, I love it. I appreciate you saying it. Yeah.
So why do most men don't change the stories? Why is the most men are just stuck to stories? Because they're comfortable. Again, it's what we know, it's what we used to. You know, so it's easier said than done. Change your story, change your life. And one of the things that I do is I help men see, here's where you're gonna end up if you continue in the story. Here's the hell you're gonna be able to create if you continue with the same patterns. Because once you see the hell you wanna create, then from that place you can make a choice and decide. Just like Tony said, decide that this is enough. Decide that you want more out of life. Decide that you wanna do something different. But nothing happens again without pain. Nothing is going to happen in your life unless you're willing to face that pain and turn that pain into fuel.
I think a lot of this chat has been about that. And
but look at the positive emotions you wrote down, or you just told me verbally, right? So you're hopeful. Are you playful or funny, or what would be your term around that part of you? Because I didn't hear that part of you. And I know it's there.
No, I feel like that part of me became such my work that I haven't had as much free time to be that as I would like to.
On your own, okay, cool. Well, so those are the positives. What are the negatives you feel in an average week? At least once a week, not once a month, once a year. What are the negative emotions you feel?
Ugly.
Okay.
I feel incapable,
Okay.
angry, and I feel disappointing.
Okay. So which of those emotions is most powerful for you? The positive list or the negative list?
The negative list is more powerful.
And that's a pattern. A lot of businessmen, entrepreneurs, we beat ourselves down and we let all those negative emotions just drag us down through the whole day. And that's when negativity is more powerful. If negativity feels at one point more powerful. Why? Because we don't anchor the other feelings. So he has a loneliness. If I tell you right now, just write down all the negative things that are happening in your life. Well, every single one of us, we run out of paper, right? And you write down all the great things that are happening in our lives, you start thinking about it. And then you may not remember all the good things that happen to you. Because our brain is wired to look for the negative. Our brain is wired to look for the things that we are afraid of. Why? Because it's survival mode. Our brain just wants to survive. See, success and fulfillment is not the wiring for our brains. Our brains are wired to survive. So they only want what's enough, good enough. So if you want to go beyond just good enough or want to have more than enough, then you have to tap into the other side, which is the positive emotions. And I believe that you could use those negative emotions as fuel, because one of the strategies that I use to help men is leverage. How are these emotions that you're feeling right now affecting your kids? How are these emotions that you're feeling right now affecting your wife? How are these emotions that you're feeling right now is affecting the people that you love? Because sometimes we will not change if it's up to us, but we will change for other people because we don't want to bring this to other people. We don't want to hurt the ones that we love. So as long as there's leverage, it's a faster way for you to break your patterns and grow.
Most people. Watch this. What's an emotion that if it became the dominant emotion in your life, one or two, it would get rid of those negatives like they wouldn't have any power over you? What would be an emotional state? Would it be like courage, or would it be playfulness, or would it be, let's say, joy, or would it be, you've already got gratitude, more gratitude? What would be an emotion that's so strong that it would get rid of the disappointment?
Probably love, you know?
There we go, and that's your core, brother. I didn't hear you say that on the first one. That's all you really want. It's probably why you do this podcast. It's probably why you make people laugh.
And that's the whole core, and that's the whole point of why we do what we do. If love is the most powerful force in the universe. I mean, people think they want money, people think they want prestige, people think that they want to be popular. All of that is around, you want to be loved. At the core, our human need is we all want to be loved. So we'll do all these things. We want to make money because we want to be loved. We want to be popular because we want to be loved. We want to contribute because we want to be loved. At the end, the core of every entrepreneur is love. Love for the game, love for other people, love to be able to give. The moment that you realize that the most powerful emotion that you have is the power of loving yourself, loving what you do, and having appreciation, joy, love, and being proud, for me, those are my three anchors. Every morning I focus on thoughts of love, joy, and feeling proud. And I anchor myself, and I go into the shitty moments too. And I have a process, a daily ritual that I take myself through every single morning, that I access those negative emotions, and I also access the positive emotions. And I create a cocktail in my brain that allows me to break through and interrupt the patterns that don't let me get stuck in the peasant mentality.
By the way, the whole reason I do what I do is I love people and I love to see people happy, because I was so unhappy myself and I got out of it. So I was so grateful. It's like, I feed, 100 million people a year, 100 million meals.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
doing
your
that.
charity, yeah.
I've done 1 billion meals in the last 8 years, right?
Right, dude. That's what McDonald's did, isn't it? And it was free. They're pretty cheap at McDonald's, but dang, dude.
But I did it not because I'm a good person. I did it because I grew up and I had no money and no food. And when I was 11, somebody came and fed us on Thanksgiving, and I was like, that made me believe strangers care. If strangers care about me, I care about strangers. And so I fell in love with people, and I want to make people feel happy. And I know what it feels like not to have food. I know what it feels like to be absolutely depressed and miserable and saying,
see, you will do more for other people than you will do for yourself. The moment that you find leverage, so Tony found leverage. There's leverage on that. Somebody helped my family, I want to help other people, and he's doing enough for him. He's doing it for other people. So that's the ultimate leverage. Who is going to suffer if you don't break your patterns? Who's going to suffer if you continue to live in the same story over and over again? Because the moment you realize that people out there are waiting for you to grow and expand and lead, the game will change. Because this doesn't happen overnight. This is a work in progress. You have to continue to work on yourself to be able to lead with power.
I even need to stick around in this life, right? So I don't want anybody else to feel that. So it drove me to find answers, not just for me. Once I found them for me, I wanted to help as many people as I can. Why do I want to do it? Because I love love. Because when you help people that much, I have so much love in my life, it's ridiculous. I get stopped on the street every day and people don't come up and say, oh, I like your show or something. Come up and go, you changed my life. Oh my God, I love you, Tony Robbins. And I always say, no, I didn't do it. You did it, but I'm glad I helped. But I love the love that comes from it.
Yeah.
So we all really want love, but we're afraid we're not enough. And you, my friend, you are growing like a weed right now because you're doing things most people never get out of. And I'm not blowing smoke your way. I'm not a bullshitter.
No, I don't feel that, man. I appreciate you saying it. Yeah,
it's the truth. But you got to notice your progress, and you got to stack the good, and then you got to stop the old story. And the minute you start to say that phrase, bullshit, that's an old story. It's not true anymore.
Yeah, I think a part of me is afraid that I'm going to leave a part of me, like
So what happens is the moment that you start getting successful, and it happened to me, it happened to a lot of the guys that are coaches, we self-sabotage. We hit a certain level of success, and then we feel like we don't deserve it. We shouldn't be this. And then we go backwards, and we lose money, we lose our business, we lose our marriage, we lose something, and then we want to rebuild it, because it's easy to rebuild. It's easy for you to feel like, man, I don't deserve this, so I'm gonna sabotage it, I'm gonna rebuild, and you're looking for that high. That high is like the gambler. The gambler goes to Vegas. He doesn't get high when he wins, he gets high when he's losing, and then he has to come back again. So same thing as an entrepreneur, we have to continue to anchor the wins, the base hits, not focus so much on the home runs, because the reality is that you're never gonna be good enough. The more you chase, the more it goes away. It's the pursuit of the game that's gonna make you good. The pursuit of the game that's gonna help you grow. It's the pursuit of the game that's gonna make you become great. Are you chasing success and chasing the money, chasing the prestige, chasing popularity, or are you pursuing greatness? Are you pursuing growth? Because that's the difference of this game. If you want to be fulfilled, you have to pursue greatness instead of chasing success.
Part of me is afraid that I'm going to leave a part of me, like if I be successful.
So let's investigate that for a second.
Like if I be successful, I'm going to leave a part of me behind.
Well, then you're effed right now because you're already successful. You got, I don't know how many millions of people I'm sure that watch your podcast. You make people laugh all over the world.
Yeah.
You have people that
I think I'm embarrassed sometimes.
But all those emotions are old habits. They're just habits. So I understand that. And by the way, when you feel embarrassed or you feel these negative emotions,
Yeah.
it also makes you feel for yourself for a little bit. So that's the other part you might be afraid of. Like some people take care of everybody.
What do you mean by that?
Well, like for some, I don't know if this is you, but some people are so busy trying to make everybody else happy all the time, they don't take care of themselves unless it's a big ass problem. And then for the first time, even if it's a negative feeling, at least I'm feeling for myself, I'm feeling for me. And that might be what you're afraid of losing. Let's try it for a second here. What if I told you you could go back and feel like shit as much as you want, it'll never stop,
Right.
but you don't have to have it be the predominant emotion of your life.
So the imposter, the peasant mentality is never gonna go away. I have guys who tell me, Raul, help me kill that version of myself. I wanna bury that motherfucker. I wanna bury that man. The reality is that he's part of you. That peasant mentality is part of you. That's not your enemy. The moment you realize that peasant mentality is just there to protect you, because it doesn't want you to get hurt, it doesn't want you to fail. It's just a protective mechanism that we all have. The moment I realize that, man, we're gonna feel shitty every single day, but we have the choice not to live there. You could have bad moments, but don't let those bad moments turn into bad days, because those bad days will turn into bad weeks, those bad weeks will turn into bad years, and eventually it's gonna turn into a bad life. Feel those shitty moments, but don't live there.
Beat yourself up or be ashamed or not be too happy. That it's an old story that got wired a long time ago and has nothing to do with who you really are. But when you keep telling yourself it's like my friend, I need to take care of him, I'm gonna lose a part of myself. No, you'll never lose that part. There's a part of me that would be a victim very easily. I was beat as a child. My mom was a beautiful woman. I'm not denigrating her.
God,
But when she put alcohol together with prescription drugs, she was crazy. And I was 5'1" in high school, believe it or not. I'm 6'7" now. I tell people the difference is, I tell people the difference is personal growth, right? But I had a tumor in my brain that made me grow. But I was this little guy, and she would slam my head against it. She'd put liquid soap down my throat because she said I was lying, and I wasn't lying. And when the person you love most is trying to hurt you, you can do a number on your head. But I look back now, and fortunately, I didn't let that stop me. And I didn't settle for that. I struggled for a long time. I look back on it, I can honestly tell you, if she was the mother I'd hoped she'd been, like if I was well-fed, you really think I'd be trying to feed a billion? I've done a billion people, now I'm trying to feed 100 billion people. You think I would be spending my time doing that if I was a well-fed kid? I don't think so. If she had been the mother I want, I wouldn't have become the man I'm proud to be.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of why you feel this way. There's a part of you that's been programmed to think that you shouldn't have this pain. It shouldn't have happened to you. And every single time that you think I should have done this, I should have done that, you take away from finding the gift. The gift is all the negative things that happen to you in life, all those negative emotions have something to teach you. There's something you could learn from that. Just like Tony, he wouldn't be the man that he is right now if he didn't have an abusive mother, a messed up childhood, but now he realizes that that was the gift. Emotional fitness is you learning from the punches that life gives you. Emotional fitness allows you to get stronger. That it's not about what happens to you, it's who you become through the adversity, through the challenges, through the punches that life continues to give you.
Are not you. They were a part of your past. They were a pattern. It's a pattern of what you do with your body and breathe. But it meets some of your needs to feel yourself or feel sorry for yourself or feel sad.
Right.
You follow me?
It's like a self-pity thing.
A little bit. But what you're really wanting is not self-pity. You're wanting self-love. You just haven't learned how to give it to yourself. My way of doing that is gratitude. Because when you're grateful, love flows naturally.
Is that a common pattern that sometimes, because I noticed over about 2 years ago, I noticed that one of my biggest addictions sometimes was self-pity. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
I thought I was helping myself by focusing on myself, but really I was feeling too pitiful.
And hit it right there in the nail, it's an addiction. We all are addicted to something. We are addicted to pain or addicted to pleasure. The problem is that pain is an easy addiction. It's an easier way to get addicted to pain than to get addicted to pleasure. But unless you learn how to use that pain and say, well, this doesn't serve me, and when I use that pain as fuel, then you're always gonna live in that pain. One of the exercises that I do every single morning is gratitude journaling. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Write down 1 thing that you're excited about. Write down what are the 3 things that you're gonna focus on, and then write down what is your mantra for the day. What is the intention for the day? Because we have to rewire our subconscious mind on a daily basis. Otherwise, we're gonna live on the pain, we're gonna live on the things that we don't feel proud of. If you think about it right now, there's tons of things in your life that you could feel proud of. Tons of things. If you think about it right now, there's tons of things in your life that you could be grateful for. But why do we choose to focus on the negative? Because it's easy for us to be addicted to pain.
I realized my alcohol was self-pity. Anytime I didn't.
Also alcohol is a depressant. So what's going to do is it feels good in the moment, but then it lowers your energy and your blood sugar, everything, right?
Same for self-pity?
Self-pity, same thing. Now your energy, think about it. Self-pity, if you're in self-pity right now, 0 to 10, 10 is total high energy, 0 is no energy. Where are you in self-pity? Where would you put it?
Oh, 2.
Yeah. Where are you when you're feeling excited?
Where's my energy?
0 to 10, yeah.
My energy when I'm feeling excited is like a 9.
Yeah. Which one do you want to be?
I'd rather be the 9.
Yeah, well, why the fuck won't you just do that?
I know.
Man, that was a great clip. And it ended exactly where I believe that robs our energy, which is sedation. Sedation, it could be alcohol, it could be porn, it could be whatever it is that you're sedating yourself with, but whatever it is that you're doing that's taking you away from having high energy, being focused, being guided, and living on the edge is sedation. So all this self-sabotage, all these negative patterns that we have, we try to cope with drinking, with porn, with chasing money, or whatever it is that is gonna take us away from dealing with the problem. So I hope that you found value in this video. Really enjoy doing these reaction videos, and if you like it, just comment, send us a message of what video should we react to next. Until next time, learn it, live it, experience it. Love life.